Okay, good morning, team. Thank you for joining us for this training. I hope the rest can log on shortly. With us today is Purity Wanjiru and Nancy Waihiga Mutoni from Accurex Leadership and Management Consultancy Limited. This is a consultancy that offers leadership and management training, basically transformative leadership, yes. So we hope that they will be taking us through 3 sessions for 3 days, from today, Tuesday, to Thursday of November, from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. So I kindly urge you to participate and also to, to ask all the questions that you might want to ask, and let us make this training interactive. In case you have challenges communicating, you might as well send a chat or raise your hand. I will hand over to Purity now, who will take us through the program for the next session. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Sandra, for even inviting us to be able to join your team this morning, to share a bit of knowledge, a bit of skills, a bit of our experience in the space of change management. And I'm very happy to also, based on the feedback that we've received earlier from the training needs assessment that we did, that we are able to touch on a few things. Those that we are not able to touch on today or during the course of this training, I hope those are some of the things that you can talk and recommend to your team. So my name is Purity Wanjiru. I'm the director for Accurex Leadership and Management Consultants Limited. We are based here in Nairobi, Kenya, and I'm very happy to have partnered with QSS to train their teams here in Kenya, in South Sudan, in Kigali, and now in Uganda. So I'm very happy that we're able to move as organizations and to be able to impact your business. Together with me this morning is Nancy Mutoni, who is going to be a facilitator for the 3 days of our course in change management. She brings a lot of wealth and experience in terms of leadership and management, running over 20 years. So I believe and I trust that you're in the right hands of Nancy. And I know how we've structured the training today is it's one, we have a presentation. At some point, we'll do a Q&A. At another point, we'll do a group discussion. So we are able to facilitate the group discussions as we progress. Other than that, karibu sana Nancy, take this over. Let's see how it goes. Thank you.
Yes, yes. Thank you, Purity, and thank you, Sandra. And thank you all for being here today. Good morning, all.
Good morning.
Yeah, karibuni sana. I don't know if you know some Swahili. Karibuni means welcome. How do you say welcome in Uganda? We'll get to know that. Okay, so my name is Nancy, as you've been told by Purity, and I'll take you through this course in the next 3 days, and I urge you all to participate. It's a new way of learning. We are trying to find how we can interact with you. So all I'll say is enjoy yourself as you're learning. You know, learning something new is fun. It's about the mind, attitude. So I'll be posting here and then for Q&A, but I urge you all to just be, because you all know each other. Feel free. There's no wrong answer. There's no shaming. But for us here, we're here to share what we know, not to lecture. We're here to share, because as we are sharing, also we learn about you and your organization, what you do. So I think I'll just begin by sharing my screen. Let me know if you're all seeing it.
Yes, we can see it now, Nancy.
You can see it, eh?
Yes.
Okay, I will be able to put up my video for a while because of the connectivity, if you don't mind. Is that okay?
Yeah.
Yeah, so let me just do that now because sometimes it becomes challenging. All right, so let's introduce the topic for today. The topic we have for this week is called effective change management. Are we together? That's what we asked for. You agreed, huh? Purity? Yes. We're here for change management. Huh? Yeah, so we went through some of your training assessment needs and you found a few areas you want us to focus on. So I'll try and put them together and what I think is important for you to understand when it comes to change management. And then maybe by the end of the 3 days, you can see if we have addressed your concerns well. And if not, we can discuss that, but I'll try to compress them because 3 days for 2 hours every day is not quite sufficient because change is a very, very broad subject, but I think it's one you'd enjoy very much. Okay, let's begin. A wise man called Charles Darwin once said this very, very wise word. He said, it is not the strongest of the species or that survive, not the intellectual ones who survive. It is the one that is most adaptable to change. So what he was saying here is true in everything. Adapting to change, and change is everywhere around us. We have our own change, we have our own company change, and family change. So for us, it's about survival. But the only thing that does not change is change. So change for us is something you can never escape from. And it says here very, very well, it's not how strong you are or how clever you are or how wise you are. It's about adapting to change because if you don't adapt to change, you will not survive. I hope you all agree on that. Yeah. And we'll see how that adapts, how that comes around as we continue with our training. I'll show you another photograph here. And let's talk about this photograph. I know you've seen it before. Can anybody just tell us what it's all about? It has a name. Unmute and tell us what you know about it. Anybody? So please interact. You can raise your hand and she can pick you up or you can just speak. It's okay, please. Let's talk to each other. What are you seeing there? Have you seen this photo anywhere before? Hello.
Can you call out names?
Yes, if you don't volunteer, we'll call out names because we should talk to each other. Let's talk to each other, yes. Anybody?
We have Carol.
Yes, Carol. Carol.
Or Nelson?
Yes, I've seen this in a documentary.
What is it? Tell us. There's a noise in the background.
Nelson, we could not hear you.
Anybody else?
Anybody else who has seen this photo before?
The photo?
Yes.
Sandra, what I'm seeing is I think they're buffaloes trying to cross the river.
Okay.
Heading to maybe the forest.
This migration, they're migrating.
Yeah, I guess they're migrating some sort of.
Okay, you're right. But there's a name I'm looking for. It's a wonder of the world. I'm giving you a hint, a clue. It's a wonder of the world. Here in East Africa. Anybody else?
Can you give us another clue?
Yes, please. Shamim?
Kindly asking for another clue.
Oh, another clue.
Another clue. I gave you 2 clues. It's one of the wonders of the world, and it happens in East Africa. Another clue I'll give you, it's around this period it happens, this period we are in, this month of July, October there. By now you know what it is. Yeah, East Africans, you know about it. Yes?
Serengeti.
Serengeti.
What are we saying?
In Serengeti?
Hmm?
Yes,
Serengeti.
it happens in Serengeti.
Yeah.
Yes.
It's called, yes, it's a migration. It's called the wildebeest migration.
Yeah.
Isn't it?
Yes.
It happens between Serengeti and the Masai
Mara.
Are you familiar with that? Okay, these are wildebeest. It's a kind of well, it's called a wildebeest animal, and what they do between July and October of every year, it's called the Marath Migration. It's a man-defined wonder of the world. So what happens is that in July and October, there is a drought on one side in Serengeti, and they cross over across the Mara River to come to the Masai Mara, where there's better pasture, okay? And that's one of the changes that we'll discuss it applies to many, many areas to discuss. So every year, about 2 million wildebeest animals cross over the Masai Mara River from Serengeti, Tanzania to come to the Kenyan side. And 2 million animals are many. Imagine 2 million animals in about 4 months, yeah? Now, why are they changing? Why are they crossing over? Reflect on what Darwin said here. Why are they crossing over? Any idea? Anybody?
Let's see. Donald?
Donald.
You say they're crossing over because there's better pasture on the other side.
Yes.
Yes, if they stay beyond there, what will happen to them? If they don't cross, what will happen to them?
They'll starve.
They will die, they won't survive, isn't it, yeah?
Yes, yes.
So here, can you see what David is saying? It's about adapting to
change.
The change, yeah? The change here is they stay there, they will not survive, they will die. But if they cross over, they have a chance of what? Survival, isn't it, eh? But meanwhile, in this river, there's a lot of crocodiles. It's full of crocodiles that can even eat them up. But they still adapt and say, I'd rather cross over and risk my life to go across there and survive. So change also has some challenges. Do you agree?
Mm.
Yes. So think about it. 2 million animals in about 4 months crossing over to get pasture for survival, because they have seen if they stay on the other side, one of the things will happen that they will starve to death. Secondly, because the starvation on that side, they are prey to other animals and they are huge lions. Think about them, you know, the cannibals. So both ways, they will die. They will perish. Mm-hmm. So they must adapt to this change. So think like that as we go along. Think of that photograph in your mind, keep it there, and what Darwin has said here in that quote as we go along. Now, let's try and define change in our own language. Again here, interaction. I'm not to lecture anybody. I want to know what you guys think about. Can someone define change in their own language? What you understand by the word change? What is change? Simply put. Anybody? And I said earlier, no wrong answers. We are all interacting, learning, and we know a lot of things. So let's share. Anybody? Volunteers? Or we volunteer them?
We can pick Rebecca. Did they see Rebecca?
Don't be afraid of each other. You know each other very well. Let's talk. Yes, Rebecca?
We have Robert.
Robert, yes.
Change is about new things.
About new things.
All right.
Okay, great, good. Thank you. Next.
Sonia. Sonia, you are on mute. Sonia, can you unmute yourself? Yes. What do you think change is?
They can even put in the chat and write there in the chat. It's okay.
Yes. Okay, we can pick someone else. Patrick, I don't think Patrick and Kenneth, if they have sound.
Oh.
Rebecca?
Change can be growth, because when you grow from being one thing to another, there is change taking place, so you change. Or even moving from one area to or like movement. Okay, moving from an area and you move something else, you've changed because you've changed the environment, you've changed where you are, maybe that can also be changed.
Okay.
Thank you. Can I have one more?
One more, please, from the team.
Or they can chat on the chat, maybe.
Yes, we can also send your inputs on the chat box. All right, let's continue, Nancy.
Okay, good. Now the two who responded are very right. You're right in what you said, because to summarize what change means, I'll just show some keywords here. An alteration in an individual's or group or a business's alignment to the environment.
Yes.
Somebody said about a movement or a shifting, yeah, from one to another. It is correct. And it's something new. It's not the same thing you've always known. So you shift from one present state to a desired state for a good reason, for a better reason, because you want to get better. And we said here earlier, it's about survival, like for the animals we saw. It's about growth and improvement maybe, or you want to increase in something. So here, think of some keywords. I have done some bold there. It's about a change, altering. You, individual, a company, a business, a family, to align to the environment, because no one exists in an island. We exist in an environment that has been done for us. You can't say you can live alone and you're fine and you can stay, because you don't live in the world alone. Even your own neighborhood's environment, your own business, your office, where you are, your city, your country is environment. So you're trying to shift to align the way you operate based on what the environment has put for you in place. So think of that, shifting and altering. Now, the thing about change is coming from one place to a better place because you have seen something better ahead of you. We're calling it here a change vision, yeah? So you have seen there's something better out there that you should align yourself towards because you want to improve, to grow, to get better, and beyond survival. Now think of the wildebeest across in the Serengeti. They also have a vision, isn't it? They see something better, they know where they are, and they know across there is more for them, there's a better place for them to be. So they plan to shift and align to that environment. And what they do here is they move away. We discuss about change vision in the next few maybe hours or a few days. Now, it's all about what you desire to have beyond what you have. So once you understand what vision you want to have in change, you try and sell that vision to others who are concerned, who are with you, either in your family or in your business, and you all agree it's a good vision, a good change, so you all agree to move. Those animals you saw there, they have a way of communicating to each other. They know what goes on, and they agree that you're going to move between this time and this time in big numbers across. In the daytime, where we can see the crocodiles, and we can go across. So it's all about shifting, and you're all correct. That was Robert and Helen? Yes, thank you very much.
Yes, Nancy, we also have input from Arnold, who says
Yes.
Change is about adaptation. And from Sonia is changes from moving from one situation to the other.
Yes. Those are all correct. And thank you for sharing, because now I can see we agree on how we can define on change, because there are many ways we can define change, but for our purposes here, we want to make it very simple for us to understand. It's a shift based on an environment from one to the next. Good, so we agree. Now, let's talk about business now. Change in organizations. It's a very simple term here. It describes a change in the operations of a company or a business based on the environment again here. So you have a business here that's called Q sourcing or Accurex leadership. You're responding to an identified internal or external environment factors. Again, a business, small or big, an operation, a country, the way you operate is determined by what is happening in the environment. So today, just think about it. Don't forget about the environment. It's the first thing you must think about. What is going on where I am, yeah, in your country, in your city, and how can I align myself or my business? That's all it's all about. Simply put, it's about a shift. Okay. Now, there are types of changes in business I want to discuss here, but I've summarized them in just two simple types of change. And the first change is a planned change, yeah, or a change that has been planned. This is where a business identifies a need to change based, of course, on some factors in the environment, And then they look for a plan, a proactive plan. You know, they have seen it and they proactively put together a plan to ensure they achieve this change vision together. And they're all well informed, the teams that are concerned or those concerned, and the plan is agreed about. They have to agree together. If you're a family, you're agreeing and saying, let us move from here, or let us change the way we live from here to there, because if you change from here to there in that different way, it's good for us. It's better for us. Now, the wider bit across Serengeti also have a way of planning together and saying, this change we are seeing, let's plan to move from here across the Mara because of our reason of the drought that is happening in our environment. And how we will do it? Let's agree to meet early in the morning in big numbers, because the more we are, the more chance of surviving we have across the Mara River before we're eaten by animals in the water, and we can cross over. So they plan and agree together. Companies also have a phase of planned change because they foresee. Companies are always looking for the environment to see what is changing, what has shifted, and how can we adapt. So they plan and have a change vision. Second step of planning is the unplanned change. This is where a change occurs suddenly, no one expects to happen, it just occurs and is triggered by a sudden change, and no one even had an idea to happen. It can happen to a business, individual, and this is something that happens every now and then, and planned or not planned, you have to change, you have to plan for the change. So here you have planned change and unplanned change, but both ways, you must plan and have a change plan. Examples here can be somebody at the top, the CEO has changed drastically, you know, a new CEO has come in, a new board has come in, and that will change the way you act, the way you plan, the way you operate. Any more examples here of unplanned change you can get from the floor, you've experienced?
Examples of planned change, right?
Unplanned change, unplanned.
Oh, unplanned, okay.
Yes, yes.
Do you have any examples of unplanned changes we have experienced?
I gave one for a change in the CEO at the top leadership, for example. Any more? To be good to hear them. Okay.
Arnold is saying the weather.
The weather.
Yes.
Is that okay? Explain further, Arnold. Is the weather unplanned? Okay.
The weather is unplanned because in the morning could be sunshine, then in the afternoon it just starts raining.
Okay, the daily weather.
Yes.
That is true, like of late. The last 1 year, everything has changed because you expect to have cold from July to maybe September.
Mm-hmm. November, it's still very cold.
Okay. Yeah, so
another one from
as planned and change.
Sorry, Nancy. Another one from Sonia. The pandemic has caused us to change. I think also the pandemic
exactly
was unplanned.
Exactly. Yeah, it is unplanned. No one saw a thing will come one day called COVID that the whole world will have to adapt to. Imagine the whole world has been shut down. Who knew that one day that you and I people can train on computer, laptop, and train people in Uganda?
Never.
Again here, adapting to change. If you didn't adapt to this change, you and I would not be paying our bills, would have shut down. Yeah, very good answer. So COVID, we'll discuss about COVID later. We'll see how it has affected people in Uganda. All right, well, can you continue?
Yes, please.
Okay. Again, we talk about the environment that we live in is what triggers change. You cannot trigger your own change. Something out there will trigger your change. And here we look at two environments. We have internal environment. We discuss them in detail here. The first one being the farm or the business environment where you operate, your company, Q sourcing. That is an environment by itself, you know, where you work, your office, where you go every morning. Now, the company, of course, has company goals. You have your strategy, you have your structure, you have a culture, you have leaders. So any shift, any alteration in any of these areas that the company has will trigger a change of some kind. Yeah, a new culture, maybe some new goals were adapted, a new objective or strategies can actually make you change. Secondly, here we can have the operating environment. The second layer now beyond the firm or the business operating environment is about the people you interact with every now and then. Your customers, your suppliers, your, technology that you interact every now and then, supply chain, anything that has a change in that place where your customers, what they demand, what they need, how they're behaving, will affect the way you work. It'll make you change, yeah? Who are your customers? How are they changing in the way they're using your services? How are their needs changing? How their behavior is changing? And there are many more you can discuss in that. So you have internal, here, the first thing being the business environment and operating environment. Second level is the external environment of business. And this is now the third layer. The further away you come out of your internal environment, it gets more challenging and more dynamic. Now, Q sourcing are in the consulting and HR area, am I right?
Yes.
Yes, they are, yeah. So who are your competitors? And how is the rivalry in that industry? How do customers dictate what they need? How do suppliers dictate what's the power of the supplier and the customer? Yeah. How are the entry barriers? Are they very open? Is it easy to just come and join the sector? And how are the labor markets changing in the environment? These are now the ones are now competing in the sector. You could be in HR, it could be manufacturing, and whatever sector you belong to, that's now your first external environment layer. Then lastly, we come to external environment where it is more of global. It's now the country, it's the region, East Africa, for example. It's actually beyond you. This is what now we'll discuss in this session. This is what mainly makes companies or business adapt change, because the environment you live in, the country, the region that you live in, is what is going to cause a bigger shift, make you align yourself to what is going on there. So don't forget those two. But don't forget about also the types of change we have discussed here. So I think let's continue. Don't worry about the writing notes, because I think we'll be given some notes later, or you'll be given a video to be recorded. So just focus on what you're doing. So I'll be going as fast as I can. And please, if I'm too fast, you stop me. Yeah, if my accent is not allowing you to understand me because I have a Kenyan accent and you're Ugandan, let me know. All right, so those are what triggers change. So look at in the diagram here, the first inner circle here is your firm or your business environment, your business, Q sourcing, your strategies, your culture, your operations. Second layer here we discussed is those you interact with every day, your customers, your clients. The third layer is now external, to do with your industry, your sector, competitors in the industry. And the third one here is the outer one, external forces that happen beyond you, in your industry, in your country, in your world, like COVID now is one of them, for example, inflation and all those things. All right, but now, a business must always keep a pulse on these four environments. What is going on? What is changing? What is happening? Unless you keep a pulse or a close eye or a close ear, you will not know how to shift or how to realign yourself. So we all know, like leaders in a company, they must always keep an eye, read, understand, interact, Unless you do this, you will not be able to survive, because something will happen in the external or the internal here, and you're not changing. Others have changed, and they have moved on, they have grown, and you're still down there, and it's too late to start planning later when things have happened. So now, once you're aligned and you know what's going on there, how do you know what is going on? How do you identify what area is causing a shift? There's something I put there called a Pestle. Has anyone had that acronym, Pestle? Anyone ever have come across it before?
You can just raise your hand if you have.
Yes, raise your hand. Yes. It's all there. I'm sure you have. If you're somebody in the business for a long time, you have had it before. Okay, now the Peso Analysis was first brought by a man called Francis Aguila, professor at Harvard University in the 1960s. And he came up with this acronym that the first one was PEST, it was called the PEST, okay? A tool to scan the environment beyond our business. It was called the macro environment or the external environment we discussed here. The bigger circle, the bigger one outside here, external. Because a business must understand what is going on in the environment, and he put together 4 categories of the environment. The first one being the P, is called the political element, to do with government policies, political environment, how stable is political environment in the country you are in, or wherever you are in, tax policies, labor laws, and trade, such things like those ones that happen beyond in the government. Think about where you are, Uganda, yeah? Your government policies there, the politics that have been put in place, how are they? Number 2 was the E, economic. It's about the economy of the environment where you exist in terms of inflation rates, interest rates, exchange rates, of your currency and others, economic growth and the trends that are going on, the income that's available for the people in that country or that region, the spending power, and employment rate. These are a few examples of what it's all about, but they're bigger than this. But think about them in particular, like P and E so far. And then we have the S. S stands for social, to do with the people issues, population growth rate, the age distribution of the people who live in that country or in that region, the safety attributes, health factors, the lifestyles, cultural barriers, religious barriers. So all those things to do with people are the S, or the social. And then the T stands for technology, to do with the R&D activities, yeah, innovation, automation, yeah, things to do with the internet, things to do with what you use to help you do your work better in terms of technology. And then later, in the business world, they realize there are 2 more elements they can add to the PES, because as you grow, of course, you need to adapt to the different areas of life. We have the third E we have here is environment. A very, very key factor you can't ignore here in terms of climate and weather dynamics in the country or the region. And of course, here we have climatic groups that come and they add pressure to the country and say, we need to have rights for economy, we need to have rights for the environment, preserve the environment, preserve, protect the environment. So these are a very big part of the Pastel. And the last one there being the L is the legal aspects to do with the laws, bylaws, consumer laws, whatever has been passed as law by the government that dictate how your life should be. So the Pastel here is a tool that was used by businessmen earlier on to try and understand what are the changes in the environment and how they can adapt to that change. And pinpoint and say, this is a political change. This is technological. This is social. For example, let's talk about COVID for a while. So what part of the Pastel does COVID fall under? What has triggered COVID? Is it Pestel? Which element has it come from? Having seen the Pastel. Anybody? It's a common thing. We have all experienced it.
Yes.
So
Shamim, what do you think?
I think environment.
Environment.
Why?
Right.
Tell us why.
Why?
Tell us why.
Based on the examples, it's something that is a natural occurrence.
Okay, anybody else? Any more thoughts?
Anyone else who thinks it could be different or the same as environment? Myself, I would think it's social, Nancy.
Okay, and why?
Because fighting the disease requires like social input, like distancing, washing your hands. So the origin could be environmental, but I think how it's spreading, it's more social. So it's making it more of a pandemic.
Okay, thank you.
Yes.
All right, if there's no other input, we'll just continue. Yes, now COVID affects what? What part? It affects who? It affects human health, isn't it?
Yes.
It's a disease, isn't it, yeah? It affects human health. It affects people, isn't it?
Yes.
So you can say it's a social trigger, a social factor. It affects human health. And in the Pastel here, if you think about health and human health and welfare, it's the S, it's social. It's about people, yeah? Now, being a people-triggered element, it affects everything else. The way we live, the way we move, interact, because It's a health factor. It's a safety factor. It affects our safety as human beings, affects our lifestyles, the way we go to work, the way we meet our families, the way we even worship, you know, the way we train and learn. So you can say here, COVID, in the Pastel analysis tool, it's a social element.
Yes.
Yeah. Any questions so far? In as far as the Pastel and the previous things we discussed, any question? I'll just pause for a while here to see if you understand.
Anyone with a question, comment, concern?
Any question, input?
Are we following?
Are we together? Am I too fast? Is my English too, you know, I don't know, too Kenyan? Purity?
I think you're okay.
Okay, all right, yeah. So understand the tool that is for scanning the environment, and this is basically for the external environment, that is a macro environment beyond your internal. So now, once you've agreed that the first thing is to analyze your environment and have a very, very close, ear and eye and pulse on environment, you must understand what element in your business, the Pestle, that element affects, because you have the external environment of business with the Pestle. Let's say you have seen socially, we have COVID-19. It affects the company. In what way? How do you align that to your business? Okay. Now, we have found a tool here that's been used by businessmen for many, many years, Mackenzie 7S model. This model has been used in business for many years, since the 80s, sorry. It was developed by two gentlemen, Robert Waterman and Tom Peters, who are consultants of a Mackenzie company in the US, Mackenzie consulting company in the US. Now, they thought about the company and what arms of the company affect each other. How do you simply just define the elements of a company? And they found 7 S's, and they call this the Mackenzie 7S model. They said a company or a business, any business, big or small, has 7 elements, and there are some that are hard elements and soft elements. And they're all, funny enough, they all begin with an S, they're all S something. Now the first 3, the hard S's, are influenced by the business, and they're called the structure, the strategy, and the systems. These are what the company can influence, right? Now, let's look at the first 3 S's that are hard S's. The first thing is the structure that we see there. Structure is to do with the way the company has been structured in terms of who is a top, who is a board, and who reports to who, and what do they do. For example, in Q sourcing, you must be having somebody at the top there. They could be called a CEO, maybe, or an MD, yeah, who reports to a board of governors somewhere, and below he has those who operate under him. There could be a financial manager, could be having a HR manager, and they all have their different roles. And they could be having different branches, branch A, B, and C, but they meet somewhere in the structure, all right? Secondly, you have a strategy. Yeah, of course, we all have them. We all know what that is. It's a plan to achieve some objectives or some goals that will drive the business ahead, yeah? Now, thirdly, you have the systems in the company, the third S. The third S here is about operations, you know, procedures, the things that you do every day, the SOPs, things like those, yeah? How you link up and what you do. I am a HR person, so I do these things. I do the payroll, I do hiring. Somebody else does something different. So those are the different things you do in the 3 hard areas. Now, the last 4 are the soft elements that are influenced mainly by the culture and people in the organization. And we look at them one by one. The first one there being the skills. These are the skills of the people you have employed, the staff members there. The competencies they have there, what can they do? How are they able to achieve them? How well skilled are they? Are they polished? Are they up to date? Okay. Then we have the staff. This is about the people. How many are they? Are they adequate? How are they spread out in the different departments? How is the workforce motivated? How are they, what's the experience of the staff we have here? Yeah. And then the last one, the 6th one there is a style. The style here is about the style of leadership of the managers. on the top, how do they lead them? What are their styles? Are they democratic? The different styles. Are they adaptive? Are they transactional? Does this style influence good leadership, for example? How they speak, they communicate to the staff? And the last one there is a shared values. Shared values here are mainly the core values or the culture of the organization. What are your beliefs? What things do you believe in together? Common values. What are your behaviors? And this being a center that you can see, it holds everything because culture upholds everything in a company. Behavior is a very, very big influence to everything you do in a business. If you look at that diagram, you'll find there are arrows or there are lines that link to each other. You can find the hard S's are linked up with the soft S's because the entire alignment must be present in the company. What affects the staff will affect the structure. What affects your skills will affect strategy. So everything about the Mackenzie's model is about aligning the business and how it works and how one change affects another one. So this model is used mainly for planning, for example, in strategy planning. It can also be used in change management here as we're discussing now. Because we have seen here earlier, once you identify which pestle, which element of the pestle affects your business, you ask yourself, so what is COVID-19? What is it affecting in our business? What is the first direct impact? It could be one element of the S or two or three. For example, COVID-19 is affecting the way the staff report to work maybe or how they work. Yeah, it means it can affect them. They can fall sick. They must take leave, for example. It means we have to work differently. We have to distance ourselves, push our desks a bit further away, or some may have to work at home remotely. What else can COVID affect, for example, in a company like QS? What else can affect? I've given an example like staff. Anything else can affect among the 7 S's? Any ideas?
You can
the first thing
yourself and we have Rebecca.
Yes.
We can't hear you. Rebecca, can you hear us?
Or she can write down the chat.
Yes, you can also write to us on the chat box.
Question here is, what other aspects of the 7S has COVID-19 affected?
All right, Rebecca, or the people who are sitting with Rebecca, they say it has also affected our structure and systems.
The structure and the systems.
Yes.
When you say structure, what do you mean? Explain a bit further.
What do you mean by structure?
Because, okay. Because structure here means basically the chain of command, the divisions in the makeup of the company, you know, how you configure the management, who reports to who, that is structure, okay? Systems about the daily procedures, the workflow, decisions made, the SOPs, you know, how you do things, yeah? So explain to us what you mean by the structure and the system, which element, would like to know that. And please feel free, I said here, we all know each other, don't fear each other, there's no wrong answer, we are learning.
From Sonia, she's saying it has affected our technology skills, we are improving each day. I think it affected all of us.
Okay, yeah. So it's about that, she said what systems, what did she say?
Our technology skills.
So skills, yes, skills.
Yes.
Great, yeah, about our skills. Even us as trainers, we're learning new skills, yeah?
Yeah.
Have to train and reach people in Uganda. Before we had to go all the way to Uganda, they had to come to us, but we can reach you using these platforms.
Yes.
So our skills have been challenged and they have been uplifted. Yeah, anybody else? In your own experience? Yeah, so you'll find that any change in the Pestle will affect either one or two elements of your 7 S's.
Let's give a chance to Donald. Donald, do you have something to say? Unmute yourself.
Yeah, I think this the pandemic has greatly impacted on our strategy. There's been various changes in strategy that the earlier plans we had moving forward have been distorted, and we had to go back to the drawing board to redevelop our strategies to meet our organizational goals.
Sure. Nancy, you're there? Hi, Nancy.
Also, the style has changed.
Nancy, are you still there?
Yes, please.
This is Rebecca.
Yes.
This is Rebecca. Okay, I was talking about what has changed. Also, the style has changed. Because if you see how the style of the company has been affected.
Oh, the style.
Areas of interviews.
Okay.
So people used to come in for interviews, but now it's more online. So the style of interviews have also changed.
Sure, definitely. That is on style. That has really changed. I also see, I think it's Rebecca or someone sitting with Rebecca. They're saying structure reducing the number of staff. Actually, that one will change the structure. The next one from procurement. Procurement, what's your name? That one is a structure indicates the chain of command and admin, including flow of operations. Therefore, the structure must adapt to meet the challenges rising from the environment as well as the impact of staff and operations. From Arnold, he says staff, it has affected staff motivation, especially when COVID had hit and staff were worried about their jobs. So I think this one has greatly affected this Mackenzie 7 model. Give me a second, I'm trying to reach Nancy. I don't know why she has hung. Just give me a second, I reached out to her.
Hello?
Hi, Nancy.
Hello? Hello?
Yes, we can hear you. Are you back
sorry,
now?
Yes, I'm back. Sorry, I think I had a shift in there. Sorry, I'm back.
All right, no problem. So I'll just read to you a few things that came up. One was on style, that they no longer have to invite people physically for interviews. They're able to do it online. In terms of structures, they're working with less staff or a reduced number of staff, and also working remotely, working from home. Or that one we discussed. Also staff, the issue of motivation, staff motivation. When COVID had hit, staff were worried about their jobs. So I think on the Mackenzie 7 model, we've been able to touch on all the 7 elements.
That's great. I'm happy to hear that because you're now connecting the Pestle and what can happen, how it can touch or affect your internal operations. And there are many. There are so many. Very well, good. So any questions or we continue? So far, I think we have managed to understand the 2 elements.
Yes.
Okay. Now, in our groups, how many are we? I want us to do some work here in a group work.
I know there are some people who are sitting together. I know Rebecca is sitting with about 6 people. Who else is sitting together? If you are sharing a laptop or a computer, you can just raise your hand, we see. All right, so I just think it's Rebecca who's sharing a laptop. So you want groups of how many people?
How many are there all together? Because you can agree depending on how many are present today.
26. I'm thinking there must be 30 because if Rebecca is sharing with 6 people, then that is,
okay.
I think 31.
Okay, because what we'll do in the next few minutes, I think about what, 15 minutes or so in the groups that we have. Number one, identify an external environment factor that has triggered change at Q sourcing in the past, okay? Where you work, yeah? It can be the recent past or in the past. Here, I mean external is beyond you, not just a company, but it's about the country in terms of the Pestle, yeah? Number two, what element of the Pestle attributes to that change? So look at the Pestle analysis, I'll keep it there for you to see, and explain how the Mackenzie 7 have affected the way you work in the business, in the company, yeah? So identify a change in the last maybe 1 year or 2 years that has affected you and what element of the environment has hit you in the Pestle. Is it P, E, S, T, or E, L? And then how has it influenced or affected any of the 7 S's? Now we have to agree because I don't want to duplicate the same thing with different groups. Pick one and say what it is. In the chat say, we have picked this element, so nobody else should pick it, yeah? Somebody else will say,
how many?
Maybe 5 or 4. Yeah.
Okay, so we are going to have 5 groups. 5 groups, okay. So, you know, we are going to send them to breakout rooms.
Yes.
All right, no problem.
I have a quick question.
Yes.
Yeah, yes.
Can you please repeat the instruction? Yeah.
The question, right. Okay. Questions here, there are 3 questions, eh? So at Q sourcing where you work, identify in the past, what has triggered a change in the environment, yeah? What has happened in the environment? For example, COVID, okay? We said COVID has happened in the external environment. Number 2, what element of the Pestle has that been attributed to? We said it was the S, or social aspect of Pestle. Then number 3, explain or describe which element of the 7 S's has been affected by that character, like social, like for COVID. We said there was skills, there was staffing, there was structure, for example, yeah?
Yes.
So pick one for every group, and preferably here, let's share and say, group 1, we have picked this change. Group 2, this other one. So that way we avoid duplication of the same thing across the groups.
And Nancy, I don't think that will be possible because we have not grouped them yet.
Okay, can you first group them then? All
right. So I'm going to assign you to breakout rooms, which will be your group discussions. So automatically, let's create. So group 1, you'll be Carol, Mona, Patrick, Sonia, and Wendy. Group 2 will be Kathy, Jackson, Joe, and Nelson. Group 3, you'll be Akot, Donald, Kasule, Michael, and Robert. Group 4, you'll be Arnold, Henry, Michael, Sandra, and Shamim. Group 5, you'll be Francis, May, Procurement, and Rebecca.
Okay, so they all know their groups now?
Yes.
So I'm going to keep this here on the screen, the questions.
Yes.
So they can see them in their groups. Can they see them in their groups?
I don't think they'll be able to see them, but I can copy and paste on their chat rooms in the groups.
You can do that. You can copy that, and also the Mackenzie model.
Yes.
And the Pastel.
Yes.
Tool.
Yes.
Yes. So I think we can, 15, is that enough time? I think it is. 15 minutes time, they can just go and, yes, and then they come back, and then they can pick a group leader who will take us through what they found, what they discussed.
Okay. So we're going for a 15-minute break. but during this break, you're going to do the group assignments. So now it's already noon. So we'll come back at 1:15 and discuss your findings. So I'm just going to share you into the rooms. You just click OK. Like there'll be a pop-up on your screen, which you click OK, then you proceed to the rooms.
And how do we know what each group is discussing, what they have picked, what they identified as a factor? They have to be a way of sharing.
Go to the rooms and just find out what they're discussing.
Yeah, so don't discuss COVID. It's been discussed already. Pick something else. Yeah, a different factor in the environment.
All right.
So come back with some good discussions, explain well, take us through, convince us, all that, yeah.
All right,
so
thank you.
See you at 12:15?
Yes, let's talk at 12:15, but we are still here.
Yes. So Purity, you want me to show that as screens, or you can, you want to copy?
I want to copy the questions.
The questions,
I doubt if we are able to project on the rooms, but let me see the settings. Please join the rooms, those who have not joined. Please join the rooms, those who are still here. There's a click button, like an OK button on your screen. You should be seeing it. Group 2, there's no one who has joined.
You are the leader. You are presenting. What are we discussing? What is the topic?
There are 3 questions. Environmental factors that have caused change. I think I had your name. I asked Rebecca. Because I don't see that. Do like it. Let's wait. Go to the actions. They said they would copy the what? So, which external environment? Wait, it's not here. Change after that. It's not there. I've been moving around. They're just questions.
I thought it was an man, Pastel,
You can just say
Pastel. What is
Pastel. I don't know.
We are the people who are still studying. For us, we are all
Hi, Jackson. Jackson?
Yes, hello.
Where are your group members?
Can you just, there's Arnold and...
Have they not joined?
I'm not seeing them. They're supposed to be Arnold and... Just a reminder, please.
Let me share with you. It's Kathy, Joel,
Kathy, Joel,
and Nelson.
Nelson.
Yes. Nelson, are you able to hear us? I can see you in the room.
Yes.
Okay, let me. We are supposed to discuss from the room, yeah?
Yes, from the room. Or if you are physically together, you can sit together and discuss.
Okay, let me just see the workstations and talk to them.
Okay, thank you.
Okay. Okay.
Hi.
Hi, are we done with our group discussion? Patrick?
Yes, please.
Are you done with your group discussion?
We are done and we are in room 1.
Okay.
We can start right away with question number 1.
Yes, please.
Identify external environment factors that have triggered change at Q sourcing in the past. We are looking at the political stability, whereby political stability.
Yes.
And there I can say it has caused a lot of destruction on the way. And most, for the past like 5 months, the city has been on the run concerning with the people going for campaigns, aspirants trying to register, and now nominations. And now, to explain the 7 Mackenzie 7 whatever.
Yes.
How it affects on this part. We are looking at failure. The staff failed to come to office on time, and now that causes a lot of poor performance.
The last one?
Yes, that is to do with the staff on question number 2.
All right.
Yeah.
Question number 3. Question.
Question number 3. Explain which of the following Mackenzie 7 were affected and how. We are looking at the staff.
Yes.
If the staff are not able to access office, and then it will affect the performance at work, and hence poor organizational performance in terms of revenue.
All right.
Number 2
from your group.
Number 2 was not answered. Number 2. Question 2 was not answered.
Patrick, question 2.
Question 2 was answered.
What did you say?
One of the elements under Pestle.
Yes.
Yes.
We talked of that is the instability to do with the politics. That is under politics.
All right.
The instability in the country which fails people to access office on time and fails to perform.
Okay.
So it's political.
Yes, political.
Okay, number 3, you only had one S that was affected. It's only one S, no other S. You said staff.
Yes.
Okay, no other S. Okay, fine.
What is the
Let's
All
continue.
right.
Let's continue. Let's continue. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Let's move on to group 2. Those who are in room 2. Who was in room 2?
Yes, I was in room 2 with Nelson, Kathy, Joel. Unfortunately, my team members are not in office.
Okay.
However, I can represent.
Yes.
Looking at the, if we can just go back to the previous slide, which has the questions.
Nancy, go to where the questions are. Yes.
Identify
the questions. There.
Yeah. Now, what we've identified the events in which external environment has affected key sourcing. I would say, for me, I'll take the environment to be the industry in which key sourcing works or operates. Our environment, I would say, is we provide human resource management services. And one of the key elements that has affected us is the price factor. This price factor, when you look at the cost of our service across the industry, it is shrinking. And the event, it is affecting our income and total turnover annually. So it has triggered key sourcing to start cost saving, looking at the cost centers, looking at the high cost elements in our operations. So it is trying to review on how it can save so that it impacts on the profit and loss. Then 2, the second question is which element of Pastel is attributed to the change? It is economical. When you look at the environment also in which the clients we work for, because the key sourcing and its competition are fishing from the same lake, and the clients we are also targeting have also issues, maybe to do with revenue, to do with compliance, to do with also external factors. They've been affected by COVID, etc, etc. So in the event, the economical element has affected the way we operate. That's the second question. And then lastly, explain which of Mackenzie's 7 S's were affected and how. When you look at the 7 S's, I'll single out the 2 things. One is the strategy. For key sourcing to be sustained in business, it has reviewed its strategy. It has reviewed its strategy, the way we operate, the way we spend. What cost-saving mechanisms can we put in place? For example, we're looking at reducing on the face-to-face interactions during the interviews. That is we are now taking on the online assessments, which weren't there before. We are also taking on the online meetings. We are using more of Teams now. We are taking on the online trainings, which is under the Assessment and Skilling Center. So the strategy has been impacted. Then number two, we are also looking at systems. I think QSourcing is ISO certified in that we are aligned to the ISO 9001 2015. So we are looking more of aligning our systems to the ISO standard. So in the event that is how QSourcing is trying to align itself to the changes. Yeah.
All right.
Yeah.
Nancy.
Thank you. I think it's clear.
Yes.
It's clear. The next group can present.
Let's move to room 3. Anyone from room 3? Room 3. Okay, as they prepare, let's move to room 4. Are those who are in room 4?
Yeah.
Shamim.
Yeah, this is Shamim. I'm representing room 4.
Yes.
So room 4, I had Sandra and a few other people.
Yes.
So for number 1, the external environment factor that really triggered change that we highlighted the most was competition. We noticed as QSourcing, maybe in line with our main service, which is recruitment. There have been quite a number of mushroom companies that have been coming up. So we felt the need to automate our processes, and the CEO was at the head of this drive. So the element of Pastel attributed to the change, we would say it's technology, because automation required a high amount of adaptation to technology, which required us to get in a few other systems that would assist us to make our operations easier. Then that takes us to number 3, the 7 S's that were affected. We came up with 3 skills. We all had to skill up, and if we were having let's say interviews on like face-to-face interviews, transformed into interviews on Zoom, which is also systems. We could categorize that under systems, but still we had to take the team through the skill, upgrade such that they are well versed with the system that we're using. And also the style of work changed. Rather than receiving hard copy applications, we would tell each and every walk-in candidate or potential candidate to just send their CVs through an online portal that we created. And all this happened between last year and this year. So the 7 S's we chose 3: skills, systems, and style. Those were the ones that were affected. That's the end of my presentation.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you. That was Sandra. Shamim.
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Question here. The first factor, question number 1. What was the factor that triggered the change? Is it automation or competition? What did you say?
Competition.
Competition.
Yeah.
Okay, in the environment, yeah?
Yes.
And then you said, what is a Pestle element?
We chose technology. Technology code, the T.
Okay. Because it sounds like you're saying that automation was the factor earlier. Yes. You said 2 things. You said competition and automation, so you felt like you want to pick T because automation. I was a bit confused there. Because competition.
the factor that triggered the change was competition, and then the change was automation.
Yeah.
Okay, because competition in what area? Technology or automation? What is it that you're competing against?
I would say business, like our business performance and brand, our services generally, the company's services were being replicated by many other companies, meaning that our client base was getting smaller and smaller.
Okay, because your environment there sounds like it's not the global environment, it's not a macro environment, it sounds like more of a business environment. And for the Pestle to work better, you must look at the bigger environment, the external environment of business in terms of maybe your city, your country. For example, like where we had, there was one that picked politics, the campaign, for election. That is now what the areas that you cannot control. To do with the governmental issues, to do with, if you're in Kampala, for example, what's going on there? In Uganda, if you're in Europe, what is going on there? So I assumed you picked automation as your area, as the challenge. You understand what I'm saying? Because the Pestle works for the external environment where you have beyond control, beyond your industry. Are you together?
I haven't really picked it, unless Sandra, my group mates, can understand it better.
Okay, let me just take it back slightly with the Pestle. The Pestle will help you better if you look at the global, the national or regional factors, political, economic, social, that affect the bigger crowd of people. Things that are going beyond your industry and your company into where you live, where your business is existing. You understand?
Yes.
Because what you have picked here is more to do with the business environment. The third layer here, industry environment. You can see that, the third layer here. And you want to look at the external environment here.
That's
so when you say
one.
Sorry?
I think the external environment is the one that affects everyone, not only those who are in the same industry.
The industry, yes. You put the industrial environment. And for us here, we're looking at the external environment where you can use the Pestle to identify which element has been affected and then now align with the 7 Mackenzie. So it sounds like more like you picked out and something like automation, Then you picked technology, which now you clearly adapted very, very well with your skills and your systems. Those are okay. But think more beyond your industry. You're together?
Yes.
Group 4 together? Group 4 together?
Yes.
All right.
Is it clear? Okay. Secondly, I want to talk about the 7 S's. The style, you said style, you also changed style? The style of working?
Group 4?
4.
Shamim, are you there?
Shamim?
Yes.
Oh, okay. So you said skills are okay because of ICT skills. Systems, yes, the way you work, but style is more about the leadership style or the management style.
Yes.
Yeah. Does that change the style of management by the manager or the leader?
Sorry, I didn't get that.
You said style was also affected,
Yes.
But style here in the 7 S's means the style of leadership or the management style.
Okay.
The way of working is systems, and you are correct earlier by saying systems, the way you work, operations. But style is more of the style of the leader or the manager.
Okay. Okay, in that case, we would only consider the 2, skills and systems.
Yes, I think so. Yeah. Now you're together. You can see how it follows. Yes, thank you. Thank you, Shamim. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Well done. Well
Thank you
done.
so
Yeah,
much.
well done.
Let's move to group 5. Those who are in room 5, anyone?
Yes, I was in group 5. This is Rebecca. Yes, okay, for the questions, question 1, for the external environmental factors that could have triggered change, we came up with workplace accidents, like employees getting accidents at work, because accidents, it's not, we see it as an external factor, something that we cannot, we are, maybe it's uncertain sometimes. So under the Pastel, we put it under social, which is emphasis, like come up with emphasis on safety measures, PPE, the use of PPE. Then for question 3, explain which of the Mackenzie 7 S's were affected and how. We said skills, because now they had to come up training of skills in safety measures, and also an emphasis on EHS.
Okay.
Hello, group 5. Thank you very much. Hello?
Hello.
Group 5. Group 5, are they there?
Yes, Rebecca is
Yes.
Okay, Rebecca.
Yes, please.
For your factors, you chose work, safety at work, accidents at work.
Yes.
Yes.
Is that external or internal environment?
We chose it as an external.
Is that, think about, is it internal or external? Think about it, safety at work, accidents at work. It sounds more like an internal environment, isn't it?
Okay.
Hello?
Yes, please, I can hear you.
Yeah, because the question here was about to address an external factor in the external environment.
Okay.
Because this is very, very internal, but at least I like that you can pick out things like the skills, you know, like safety skills, but think more of the broader elements in the environment. You understand? Like now we had political issues, a campaign one. There was one that talked about group 2 here, spoke about, group 2 spoke about what? Pricing structures, economical structures, yeah.
Yes.
So think broadly.
Okay, we had another factor that we had come up with earlier.
Yes.
Yes, it was about
Which
an
is
external factor, the question,
closing their contracts or clients going for other competitors. That's like external, because
is that an element of competition? What you're talking about, Rebecca?
it's under competition, I think.
All right.
But I understand you're following me, yeah? What I just said?
Yes.
Think broader, yeah. When it comes to Pastel, think broad, think beyond the industry, the company. Think about your country, your city. Things are beyond your control, Okay?
All right.
Yeah, thank you. Any other person, any other group?
All right, group 3, I think they're not together, or they did not do the assignment. I'm not so sure why, but I think that was it. From the comments, I think these were just promoting the discussion that was going on. The one was the most affecting elements are social and political. The other one was the most affected of the 7 S's are strategy with a shift to online operation and remote working. In terms of style, they have moved towards more adaptive modes of management, both staff and management. I think that is what we got from the chat room.
That's group 1.
Yes.
Yeah, group 1, they picked one Mackenzie 7S, the staffing, which is correct. And I was wondering, There are no other S you could pick. There are many others you can pick because political affects other S's in a company. For example, what about your systems, the way you work? Because if political issues are out there affecting your work, even the way you work, maybe the timings you come in is, or how long you work.
Different. Yes.
Yes, for example, yeah. Group 1, can you hear us?
Yes, they can hear. Patrick?
Yes.
Yes, staffing is correct. It's very good because staffing will be affected, the numbers who come to work and when they work, but also how you work, operation will be affected. Yeah?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Any others you can see that can be affected by the political instability? Any others?
Nancy, I don't if we can hear you clearly.
Hello?
Hi, we can't hear you clearly, Nancy.
Okay, must be some network. So I was asking, is there anything else you can identify in the Mackenzie in regards to police?
Yes.
Patrick, we can't hear you.
Yes, please.
Do you have anything else to add?
Okay, might be to do with the systems. Mostly when the internet, it has been overpopulated by many people during this season, then it becomes hard for us to be compatible remotely as far as using computers or phones. So there has been some instability in the network coverage caused by a large traffic in the country since everyone is on social media and all that.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. So people are all they are so concentrated on social media to know whatever is going on in the current affairs. So this limits the coverage as far as the internet is concerned.
All right.
Yes. Also think in terms of shared values, the culture, the way you behave when it comes to political affairs. Like here in Kenya, we can take our own say sometimes, we have our debates. It affects the way we commonly share values. It can affect your common shared values because of your political aspirants and that, yeah? So that's just food for thought. That's just food for thought.
Okay.
So think beyond just one S. Think of what else can be affected. No matter how small the impact is, it should be also part of the influences.
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah. But well done. Yeah. Group 3. Anybody? Because I want to know why they did not participate. Is there a problem in group 3?
Anyone from room 3?
We need to have them on board with us.
I doubt. In room 3, it was Donald, Michael, and Charlotte.
Are they with us in the main audience? No?
Yes, they are. They are.
Can we get to hear their challenges? Why they could not do the exercise?
Donald? Michael, anything?
Are there any questions or concerns?
Hello.
Hi, Sandra.
Sandra here.
Yes.
I think they are not online at the moment.
All right.
Oh, okay, so we lost them.
Yes.
Maybe I'll just find out and give you feedback.
Yeah, we don't want to lose them because we want to continue. We have some time remaining.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, so thank you all for the groups that shared. I like the way you have discussed your findings and how you thought. as I said here, we're all learning. A few of us went into the internal environment, but all the same, we have learned something new, haven't we? Yeah. So ideally, let me just try and go back a bit here. Let me try and my screen is not moving. I'm trying to go back. Give me a minute. And there we go. If you recall how we began the discussion earlier, we said we have 4 environments of business, isn't it? We have the internal that affects the business, your company, Q sourcing. Then you have your industry, competition, what's going on there, rivalry. Then you have now things to do with customers and suppliers. And then we have the main external environment here. That is where you want to focus on. That is why we had to apply the Pestle, because that is what guides us in understanding what element of the external environment has changed.
Yes.
Then we can shift now to how it influences our internal operations and how we are structured, because a company has 7 S's or 7 structures in the model that was put together by the Mackenzie model. Because if you look at the internal, you have more control here, isn't it?
Yes.
This happens every day. Change happens here every day, you know. It's accidents, it's the staff, maybe it's to do with what? To do with the internet or whatever it is. Those are going on every day. Yeah. Even in your sector, things happen every day, but within your control, you can quickly shift and change and make something work for you here. But the outer ring here, the external environment, is where you want to focus on and where you want to place an ear and an eye and look at what element is changing in that environment. And then you can narrow and say it is political, it is environmental, it is legal, for example, yeah? And that is what our discussion the entire 3 days will be about, because you're looking at the environment that is where we are living, where we are working, the country, the region, the world. Like we said, COVID, it's global, isn't it?
Yes.
COVID, it's beyond, we are not control over COVID. It affects many areas. We said the staffing, the skills, the strategy. Same thing like political, like now America, they have gone for elections, yeah? If you're in America, for example, as Q sourcing, they're now electing the new president. What would be affected? What element is that in the Pestle? Election period. Anybody out there? If you're the branch that you used to work in Q sourcing in America, what would you think of that to be? What element should that be under in the Pestle? Anybody?
Anyone?
Yeah.
Yes.
Let's share, please.
I think we have a message that says by Sonia, it will be political.
Yes, political. It's about the government, yeah? Something is happening in the political country. And then now, because of that, how would that affect you at Q sourcing in the models? Maybe your staff, like somebody had said staffing, you know, the numbers, of course, they have to go and vote, they have to go and queue. So very few will appear to work today or tomorrow.
Yes.
Yeah. It will affect what else? Systems, operations.
Yes.
They will slow down. You'll have less work activity going on at work. Anything else? Structure will stay because nothing will change. The CEO is the CEO. The one to report to them will remain there. Strategy, anything strategy, will that change? Maybe not, because your plan to achieve the goals will remain, but it will just affect the systems and how you go about it. Skills, will that change the skills of the people? Maybe not. Maybe yes or no. Yes? Somebody said yes?
It's me who said yes. Like,
okay.
You see, like skills might be affected in terms of, like, if there are changes and you need to learn or to adapt to a certain policy, then you might be forced to learn that. So hence the change in terms of skills.
The skills, okay. Anything else? Now there's something here at the center, shared goals. Why it's the center of the model is because it is touched by everything. Everything will touch the shared goals. Can you see how the style system, it is here, it is always being touched, because shared values are about the culture, the way we do things, our beliefs. you know, our behaviors, how we agree to do things. Now, shared goals here, you find every now and then it is going to be affected. For example, now in America, if they have a Q sourcing office there, how would shared goals be affected, be influenced, for example? Think about behaviors, the core values. Do you have core values in Q sourcing? Do we have core values in Q sourcing that we agree to share? Sandra can tell us maybe.
Yes, Q sourcing has core values.
Such as, let's hear them.
We have integrity.
Yes.
We have teamwork. We have innovation.
Yes.
And then we have we have excellency.
Excellence,
Yes, those are the 4 core values of Q sourcing.
That's fantastic. Now think of now in America or in Uganda, you're having election time, which element of shared values would be affected? Would they be affected? Shared values. Can you see that being affected in any way?
I think looking at the current situation in Uganda, the core value that would be affected most would be integrity.
Integrity.
Yes.
Why?
Looking at the situation in Uganda right now, there's a lot of corruption. Even looking at the way we bidding, the bidding process, there's a lot of corruption. The way we get business, there's a lot of corruption. So it is spreading and affecting our business as well internally.
Okay, great. That's
so it's an external factor affecting us internally. Yeah.
What about teamwork as a core value? You said you have teamwork. Would that be affected in the shared values?
Anyone?
I'd say here in Kenya, it would, because we are very, very politically aligned. True, Charity Purity?
True.
Because we are a team when it comes to when we agree on things. When we agree on who is supposed to be the leader of the country, we become enemies.
Yes.
We start taking sides and saying, now those guys are picking that person because it's their person. That is one area in Kenya here, I can say political situations affect us. We agree when we are together. When you're apart, we never agree. So what I'm saying here, in the model, you'll find that shared values appears every now and then. It's very, very, very centered. So as you think about the areas, the 7 S's, think also of the shared values. What are our shared values? How can that be shifted? How can that be aligned for the change? Yeah.
Right. Yes.
Okay. Any questions so far?
Yeah, we have inputs from the chat box. One is from our Arnold. He says innovation will be affected because we have to come up with other ways of operating effectively. The other one is from Sonia. I think it's a question like, why teamwork? You almost do everything by yourself, but I think that goes against teamwork. Then the last one from Wendy, teamwork, these elections make some staff stay home, limiting the physical interaction, thus decline in teamwork. That's it, Nancy, from the chat box.
Okay, thank you for your charts in the box. Now, shared value is a very, very broad aspect. And you see here, you have I had about 5 or 6 different core values, okay, and behaviors. Even if just one of them is affected, shared values are affected, yeah? Teamwork is all about thinking together, pulling together, agreeing together towards one thing. It's a very, very key shared value. And if that is touched in any way, then that entire 7S is also affected. So teamwork is about doing things together and agreeing together in your mind, yeah, in your attitudes, and in action. So if you say that teamwork affects, you do things alone, it's not an element of teamwork. It means that you're independent from each other, but you want to have a group agreeing together, come together and agree to do work. I'm a HR person, maybe I'm in R&D, but you're working towards the same achievement goal. So I must support you, must support me. So if you disagree in one element of politics, it affects all of us. Maybe it affects how we agree together. Am I being clear on that? Sandra? Or who asked that question? Is it Sandra or somebody else?
Sonia.
Sonia, it's about the attitude, it's about the mind, agreeing together. Yeah. So I think we have covered this very well this morning. And I think unless there are any other questions, we can call it a day for now.
Yes.
We began very well by understanding and agreeing what change was all about. Yeah. It goes beyond survival, and you want to align yourself to the environment towards a desired future because you want to grow, you want to improve, maybe increase your market share, improve your revenue. Yeah. We agreed about a change vision, and this we'll discuss tomorrow. You're agreeing to get to a better future because where you are is not good enough. You want to get a better future, a better place. And we define the two types of change. There is a planned change that you plan, you see far and say this change must be done because we are foreseeing the next 3 or 2 years. If we stay where we are now, the way we are working, we will lose our market share or lose clientele, for example. So you agree together to have a plan of how you're going to move from where you are and get better. Non-planned change, you didn't foresee it, it's very, very sudden, it has been triggered, but both ways you must plan for the change, all right? And then we discussed about the factors in our environment that can cause us to change. And there are two environments here, internal and external. And we defined each of them as the firm environment, about the business environment, where you are at QS. You have your goals, you have your strategy, your culture, leadership styles. And then number 2 level is operating environment, where you have now those you interact with every day, such as customers or your clients. Are their needs changing? Their buying habits, you know. The supply chain around them, has it changed? And then second level here is external, where you have industry and then external environment, where we thought about the industry is about competition, rivalry, new entrants, the power of the bargaining power of the suppliers, or the customers. And then the global one is where we are focusing on the external environment, about the national, regional, maybe Africa, East Africa, the world. And that is where you have to keep a very, very close eye and ear on and focus on the Pastel, the tool that we were given many years ago by Professor Francis Aguila, that has worked very, very well. So what element to now down and say what element is actually causing us to change? And once you identify what that is, align with the Mackenzie 7 and see what elements are going to be affected and how they can be aligned to work better. And I think for that now I'll stop here, and I want to thank you all for being very attentive and being able to answer the questions very, very well. And we have all learned something new. And tomorrow we'll learn something more. We'll go beyond this part and see how we can adapt to change and how we can be able to model change in our businesses. Unless there's any other question, I can stop here. Purity?
All right. Thank you so much, Nancy, for that. We'll open the floor to anyone who has any questions that they want us to address today. Any questions from the team? All right, if there is none, I also beg to leave it at this point today. We'll pick up some more tomorrow, starting from 11 to 1 p.m. Local time. Also, you have been very attentive, that one I must say, and very communicative, very collaborative with the group assignments. So let's pick this up tomorrow. Let's keep time as well. So continue keeping safe. And God bless you all. Good afternoon. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye. Good afternoon. See
Bless
you tomorrow.
you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Thank you, Purity.
Thank you.
If there are any more questions, please let me have them. I can address them maybe.
Yes. If any more questions come, I'll let you know.